school with Jordan.
And to the far left, we have the classy Kathleen.
Oh, wow.
She is in to really throw some class into this thing.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Kathleen, Mrs., but I'll say Miss, Cigars and Guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are the reason why Cigars and Guns is awesome.
True story.
Oh.
Ooh!
Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm putting him on the hot seat here.
Yeah.
And you're smoking it out of it.
I am.
And who the hell are you?
Well, I mean, Pops, of course, and then Adrian, Cigars and Guns.
Yeah. And you are.
And I'm Brandon.
Yeah.
I'm Brandon, and I'm off camera for most of this thing.
Yeah, that's all right.
Who's that back
And JP's back here. JP, say what's up.
Hello.
Nice.
Nice.
I was expecting a distant balls.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it is.
he is famous for his balls if you watch Saturday at the Shop.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about cigars, shall we? Because we've got to get the cigar
Why would
talk
you do
out.
that?
Well, we got to get the cigar talk.
Yeah, let's get this done.
If you have questions, please feel free to throw them in there. We will probably answer them, but we probably won't.
No, we will.
Yeah.
Okay.
I assure you. Johnny Ginder is watching. He did say that he did call me LeBron.
Okay. So
Stockard's watching. Larry Adams, of course, is watching.
if you're watching this, give this a share. Let's bump it up. Kathleen, what are you smoking right now?
An Atabay.
Why are you smoking an out of it?
Because I'm a snob. And I enjoy a good Atabay. I really am a snob.
When you first started smoking cigars, you started with what?
That would be, golly, that was years ago. What was it called? The,
Try to scan
there you, no, before
No,
that.
actually before that.
it. I mean,
The one that I like, the one that Andrew broke.
oh, Perdomo.
There you go.
The champagne.
Yeah, I really enjoyed those.
And did Andrew ruin that enjoyment of cigars for you? And Andrew, my younger brother, ruins a lot of people's enjoyment of cigars.
No, I mean, he just kind of opened up my taste buds to try something new. Because I was only, because he was
If
like,
you were a
no,
snob, you would have said Alan.
whatever. I'm not that classy. Because that's when he got me the kind of scandal.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do like those.
He traded you back. So you came in with a Perdomo champagne,
Mm-hmm.
and then he took it from you,
Yeah,
and then he snapped it in half,
yeah,
and then he gave you a Tobacconists.
yeah.
And then you tried an Atabay,
Mm-hmm.
and now here you are, all classy, saying words like taste buds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went from sub $100 per box to $300-ish, $400 per box.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
You know what
How
I
much
like?
is a box of ammo these days?
No, I mean,
Speaking of, we have to take out.
Boom. Well, that was fun.
There you go.
Unless you're
Unless you're JB and it's like,
he's got
you know,
50s.
$50,000 a box.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
shooting
yeah.
cannons over here.
So for you, what's most important to you when you're smoking a cigar? That's where I'm curious, because we were having a conversation with a partner down the road who we're looking at expanding into, and they were talking about ladies getting into cigar smoking, and it seems to be more and more common.
Mm-hmm.
But they asked why, and I didn't have a really good answer. So I'm curious, what's most important to you? Why do you smoke cigars at all?
That's a little deep. Well, I started because of Adrian, really. Because coming here, because when we first moved here, I didn't smoke cigars. But when we came here and he was smoking cigars and having the conversations and I was just sitting there, yeah, we can't have that.
No?
No. So that's when I was like, well, because I would smoke a Perdomo, but it wasn't often. It would just, I liked it, but it wasn't every day or as often as you smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I switched it over, because I wanted to have that conversation with people. And it did, it opened up a lot. Because then, you start talking about the cigar, what are you smoking? And you start delving into other conversations.
So would you say that you're into cigars now? Where you actually look forward to having a cigar? Or is it more about the camaraderie and you have a cigar along with it?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Mm-hmm.
Which one is more important, the camaraderie or the cigar?
The camaraderie.
I'm curious for everyone who's watching too, what is it for you? Is it the camaraderie or is it the cigar?
it's both. I mean, so I'm a longtime smoker, so it's to me it's the the relaxation, the reflection of your day, and just the enjoyment of cigars. And I think the people is an added feature to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Where are you
There's
at,
that,
Pops?
I think there's that kind of mental element that, because I don't smoke cigars during the day, it's kind of that the day's over. This is kind of my reminder that the day's over. And but like at night, if I sit out and watch TV for a little bit or something, I mean, I'll still smoke 3 cigars. You know, it's like I still smoke a good volume, and I look forward to them, and I think about them and concentrate on them and pick out the notes and all the other stuff. But when you're up here, you know, because you get your mind is that conversation that's happening. So it is cool. I was in that foreign country, Chicago, last week. Went to a couple of cigar lounges that doesn't have this culture. Just people go in and they sit down and do the utility of smoking a cigar, and they get up and leave. Really not interested in engaging, and it was almost awkward when you environment like ours. But it does let you just sit concentrated about your cigar more because you're not having that conversation.
Yeah,
But I was kind of looking like, that guy over there, he's a target. I'm going to go over and talk to him. I just want to stir up the conversation. Hey, how you doing? Fine. Yeah, like, all right, well, you don't want to have a conversation, I can see that. It just wasn't that.
I think we talked about that last week. We talked about it's like you're waiting to get into double dutch. You're sitting with a stranger that here you could just all you got to do is kind of laugh at one of their jokes and they're going to pull you in.
Oh, yeah.
But you're just sitting there, you're turning your whole body to them like, talk to me, please.
Yeah.
But then once you get at it and there's nothing, I saw that. I thought I'd go support a local shop. Stopped at, went in. The guy up front said nothing, no hi. Went in, picked my cigar, nothing. Got out, took my money, and went, oh, industrial, huh? Yeah, industrial. Okay, that was it. And then I sat down, and the rest, I think that permeated the culture of the shop. Is you had these 2 or 3 guys, and especially I empathize as well for ladies who are stepping into a lounge that are predominantly men. Stepping into that would be for me, I was very comfortable in the culture, but very uncomfortable in the position. Where I could just say that, and if I was a female stepping into it, and you get, especially when most of them are laid out, so you have to walk through the lounge to get to the humidor. So you just feel like fresh meat, just walking through. It's like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
These guys they're looking at me like JP looks at me when I walk through. I'm thinking, man, I'm not hungry. Yeah, and John, I think John's saying it there as well. The camaraderie.
Yeah, camaraderie for sure.
Wow.
By chance, John McGowan also started with the Perdomo Champagne 10th anniversary.
Or Lot 23s. Yeah, I think so many people go.
Yeah.
There is one cigar that I hear more and more often of the cigar that changed where they had their first cigar. When they consider themselves as cigar smokers, there's a particular one. Do you know which one I'm thinking of?
No.
There's a particular cigar where people go, oh, I smoked this. And then they hang on to it for, could be years. But there is one, and almost no one says it right, but people will say, this is what I smoke. And it's a cool thing because they go, okay, they've been smoking cigars for a while. And Padron is one of them, but the one I'm thinking is, they say Olivia, but Oliva Lalagna. Yeah, that's like the first big dog, $15 cigar that they purchased.
Yeah.
And you just went straight at that.
I did.
Yeah.
Well, it's his fault.
Mm.
It's not my fault.
We had an interesting
It's y'all's
conversation the other day. On Saturday, some guys came in, first time in, 2 guys, and they were into spirits. They were into bourbon and they were into scotch. And we started talking, and they started talking about some of their spirits, but they were still kind of new to cigars. And the one thing I mentioned to them is the cool thing about cigars is, like in the case of Additive, $25 to $35. For $25 to $35, you can really smoke something that is from the top shelf and find out what good tastes like. Whereas if you're in spirits and you're sitting there looking at that Macallan 25 on the top shelf, it's like to taste what is good is sometimes out of reach for a lot of people. So this is one of the few things that you can smoke good, smoke great, and then make your adjustments from there. You may smoke an Anabe and go, this is really good, but it seems like it's about like the $12 cigar that I usually smoke.
Yeah.
And until their palate matures and stuff like that, they're just gonna still, that's what you think. That's fine. Why are you smoking cigars?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that because just as what we were speaking about earlier, if someone wants to try Louis, that's a $350 shot of Louis, and you better savor that thing because it's not gonna last you long.
Right.
But you can smoke an Anabe for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever that may be, and really have an exceptional time.
Yep.
No, and it does change you. It will ruin you to get into something sweet.
Yeah, it really does, unless you're someone like Elliot that can, smoke an Anabe every day, multiple times throughout the day.
Now, if you could, would you?
Yeah.
You'd go Anabe, nothing else.
Yeah, because to me, it's like when and it's a high price cigar, and when people ask, and so I'll give to my buddies, Anabes, and they know the Anabes are an expensive premium cigar. And my answer to that is, if you're gonna enjoy a cigar and really savor the moment, Anabe is the way to go.
Yeah.
Whether you're having a great day, if it's celebratory, or a bad day, that moment in time is going to be better.
Yeah.
Well,
What are you thinking? Because I think I'm with you.
Well, I do enjoy the Anabe, but there was one cigar that y'all don't sell anymore, the Cavalier. JP gave me it. I thoroughly enjoyed that cigar, and when I found out you don't sell anymore, I was like, really? I like it.
They just ran out.
They make 1,000 boxes a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you hear anything LE, limited edition,
Yeah.
don't fall in love with it.
The beauty of it is
Now
that
I know.
Yeah.
the new, I just ordered the 21, and all dealers get 6 boxes. We're going to get 50. So I'm excited about that. JP will, of course, want 45 and be pissed if he doesn't get them. But no, that's a great cigar, and we've got some things in the works on that.
Yeah, that's
Really
really
excited.
cool. And for me, if I could smoke an Anabe every day, I don't think I would. And my reason is because I still have that. There's almost nostalgia built into it. That reminder when you smoke something that is of that quality, and be it top line opus, whatever fits in that top line. When you smoke something, I can smoke an aviator all day, every day, no problem, not get sick of it. But when I go to that Anabe, when I go to the Byrons, when I get to that level,
Yeah.
it's a different experience.
Pictorial or so.
Shit, yeah, that top level where I almost pity on Ellie because he can't smoke a $10 cigar and really be excited about it. And there's so many things like this that I'm smoking is fantastic.
It is good.
It's really nice. It's got texture like marshmallow, like really smooth, really ample, no pepper.
Are those new?
Yeah, these are new. It's by Grand Habano called the Zulu, and it's really sensitive.
Yeah, it's George's, the owner, George. It's his personal blend. It's not widely distributed. Very good. Actually, I saw a guy on one of the groups that I'm in that was posted a picture of it. Says, "Does anybody know what this is?" I bought a box of it a while back. He was a North Texas guy. I connected with him and told him, "We'll get some if you want some." Then I let him know he's going to come back up and get some.
I'm glad you did.
I told George. I actually went straight to George on that, and he got us to make sure we had a couple boxes to try it. But the Habano does one of these at the end. It really ramps up in intensity towards the end of the cigar. But I'm interested in trying the Connecticut. And I'll tell you what, I've had some really good Connecticut's recently. A lot of people are staying away from, they think Connecticut, they've kind of moved on to a Habano wrapper, or maybe they're smoking more Maduro, or they're kind of on that journey. But step back and try the Pichardo Connecticut. Is spectacular.
Yeah.
The Jake White Connecticut is spectacular. The Cavalier Connecticut is spectacular. There are some really good, complex Connecticut's out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it has to do with these guys. They saw the wrapper shortage coming on more full-bodied wrappers, and it kind of forced them to go back and take what was a pretty sophisticated blend and wrap it in Connecticut because that's what's available.
Yeah, I agree.
That's going to be a big issue, and it's going to become a bigger problem by the end of the year.
But this is where the flavor lies. This is my biggest irk with the entire industry now, especially where we live in the small guys, is there's so much power chasing. There's so much make the strongest cigar we can, make the strongest, and there's a market for that. I mean, there are people that enjoy that, but there are far more people that just want flavor.
It's a niche.
It really is
super strong, and when their whole sales pitch to us is, this is stronger than the strongest cigar I've ever made. That's you're narrowing the amount of people that will actually smoke that cigar. And I've found that the guys that are really chasing super strong are also chasing price point. And I think that's why JFR and some of that stuff does pretty well, because they're chasing a price point too.
Yeah,
you know, they want their brains kicked in for $8.99.
Which you can get your brains kicked in for an undercooked cigar.
Oh, no doubt.
Aggression, and that's the problem. Is strength and aggression are two different things, right?
Yeah, most definitely.
The sensation of really strength of nicotine content of what we're talking about, like for instance, what JP gave you, the Neanderthal, is a full cigar. It's a strong cigar, but it's not as super aggressive as if you have something that's undercooked or under fermented. Then you just have something that's peppery and it's just not enjoyable. But the guys who are getting into it and they start smooth, then they ramp up. They're like, well, I just want as much sensation as I can get for every dollar I spend.
Yeah.
And that makes you susceptible to the shittiest cigar that someone can produce.
Yeah, the Neanderthal is a good example of how you could have strong with 100% fermented tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many cigars out there that what it's activating on your palate is the bitter range, the berry at the back of your throat that triggers the bitterness. And people think that bitter is strong.
Mm-hmm.
Bitter is just bitter. But that it's impact. And if you smoke enough cigars, at some point you want to kind of curl back. And I mean, I'm even catching throwing just a little bit of cream in it now because it's just kind of time. I'm in that phase where I just want to knock that bitter edge off a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree with you.
And I mean, there's probably a lot of guys that drink things neat, and all of a sudden they're throwing a couple rocks in it, or whatever the case may be.
Well, they say your palate changes every 7 years.
Every 7 years? Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense. I mean, and if the more cigars you smoke, I think the more you're in tune with those changes. And I feel as though maybe you just don't want to get bored and hooked on the same thing. I think you're more in tune with the ebbs and flows of what your palate's doing.
Yeah, so I'll go back. John McGowan makes a comment when we're talking about Atabays. He says he thinks Atabay is better than Opus. And I will, and getting back to the question when you asked me if I could smoke an Atabay every day, when I come here, I'll smoke 3, if not 4 cigars. So I'll start with what I know would be a good cigar. It's called an Atabay. But if I have an Opus, if I have something else, and Halaginos are great, right? So I'll start with something I know is going to be super awesome, and then I have a line of cigars that y'all carry here are just as phenomenal.
So you go the best, and then work your way back.
Yeah, I want to start my day
Fresh palate.
Yeah, with the best that I have at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be an Atabay, but it'll be whatever I have access to.
From a pure cigar 101 perspective, if you are smoking multiple cigars in one sitting, have some chocolate covered almonds or chocolate covered cashews or just chocolate, anything like that will clean that palate in between cigars, because people don't realize how much the previous cigar lingers and sits on your palate, and it will affect what happens on your next cigar. So you may have some residual pepper that sat around on a cigar that ends up just getting lit up, but it might not be the cigar flavor profile. It might just be the heat from the cigar that's heating that up, and also you have a perception you have a peppery cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the swish the scope mouth for a little
which
bit.
works great.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kathleen, what's something that you've learned in cigars that you can't forget? Is there a lesson? Is there something that you take Because you basically you're like a factory rider in motocross. Factory rider means they've got the full team that gets a cigar, gets it, for them they just have to get on the bike and ride. So you're like a factory rider, right? So there isn't like that, you don't have to necessarily worry about cutting, maybe some of the lighting, but is there something in the process that you've seen that has helped you enjoy it better? Is there something that you would tell people to make sure to do this or don't do this? You're in the hot seat, by the way.
Yeah.
I just told her about an hour ago, I said, hey, I've got a quick question for you. Will you step into the room, at this time? Take a seat.
Yeah, no, I just never knew about toasting it. I mean, so now I know when I get handed. Yeah.
Point out.
And y'all did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I have a question. So out of the 5 or 6 characteristics that make great a cigar, which one would you say you kind of say is the most important to you when you enjoy it?
So, for the sake of the newbie universe out there, what are the 5 factors that you are talking about?
I think there's 5. I know Cigar Aficionado has 6. I do draw, fire, flavor, burn. Did I say smoke?
No.
That smoke would be fine.
well, if it's, I have an issue with draw. I guess if I'm smoking one and I can't
Draw on it.
draw on it,
Turns you off.
yeah, it's like I don't want it anymore.
I
I'm
think
tired of fighting it.
Yep, I agree.
when we're ranking cigars, I give half of the point value, so to speak, half of it, I look at performance.
You know what I look at? It takes
Draw,
that 50%.
but I'm talking about draw, burn line, ash. A lot of the things that JP had as independent, I kind of cluster those into just the performance side of the cigar.
When I am evaluating a line and evaluating a cigar, there's another element that comes into it for me, and it's personality. Because the personality of the owner is very important to me, the mindset when they create it. Right? If Pininfarina is creating a Ferrari, you can picture that agency and how they take every edge and they pay attention to every edge. If it's someone who we've had the pleasure of meeting and they're a dickhead, well, there are some cigars that JP smokes that the guy's a dickhead, but it's still a phenomenal cigar. Mm-hmm. But it's something that, if I'm being honest, it clouds my perception of the line because I picture myself in my own scope. I have to deal with them. I have to connect with them. I have to understand them, and that's why I love Crux. That's why I love Principle. That's why I love Adave. That's why I love our top lines because honestly, I'm very biased to the personality. Like for me, the performance and the personality are the two that are.
We get it. We have a really, that's one rare element that we have to evaluate cigars that others don't have purview to. I think a lot of people have heard us tell the story. I think ICC University goes a long ways towards that. And if you go into our newbies page, go to our YouTube page, there's historically the ICC universities. Sebastian from Cavalier, Patrick
that's
from Toro,
yeah.
And what we're looking for as a guy when we say, what is your mission? What drives you in cigars? The guy that says, I want to make the best cigar in the world is the guy that I like. The guy that says, I want to make the most cigars I can at $6.99, it's not, that doesn't work for me.
Or I make the best cigars in the world.
There's a few of those.
There are quite a few of those.
There's some guys that believe their own press.
There really are, and that makes it difficult for us. Because we have to curate that, because we have to have people we believe in too.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot with, like you spoke, the most important is camaraderie. Someone who you're sitting with could ruin everything for you. Right? You could sit and just go, this cigar sucks. This experience, this hour of my life, I've wasted because who I'm with. And we know if we pass on a brand that is owned by someone who we don't believe in, We're just kind of packaging up.
I think a perfect example, he's sitting here right now, is Jamon with Definition Cigars. Here's a guy that I liked his cigars before I smoked because I got a chance to see what he was all about.
Before you even met him?
No,
Because I met him.
Because
I met him in 2018 when we released the new Crux brand. I saw him at IPCPR.
Okay.
And I hope you can't hear me too much, but I met him outside of there. We connected. He said, I'm doing this line. And what I appreciated so much about him is he said, I know who you guys are. Okay, perfect. I know who you guys are. And you know what? One day we'll be ready to supply you, but we can't do it. I can't make an empty promise to you. And that made a lasting impact because when it came time to evaluate his line, I knew that when he was going to sit across the table and say he could supply us, he could supply us.
Nice.
It goes a long ways.
he's to this date is still the only vendor that we've actually sit in here and watch us go through the evaluation process. And the sweat beads were on his forehead, and he was nervous because he's watching us. It's like a chef bringing out a meal and hoping you like it.
Yeah.
On his own cigars?
Yes. On his cigars, we let him sit in the room and go through the evaluation process. But when it was all said and done, it wasn't. If we were hard on a particular cigar, he's like, "Man, I learned a lot." Instead of somebody arguing with us that we should have liked what we didn't like.
Yeah.
And there's a few of those in the industry. There's some guys that have put themselves on certain pedestals.
Yeah, you see that.
Yeah, that's organic feedback. It's live feedback, right? And I'm sure I've heard, hey, maybe you should change this label or change the band on this one, and maybe you should call it this, and this should be your, the 908, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's great for him to be part of that.
John coming in. Do we still have the Trilogy cut? We still have two sitting in here.
Yeah.
But the Trilogy cut, and if I can just explain what that is, instead of a straight cut or a V cut or a punch, it's the new rendition of a punch. And it's called the Trilogy Punch. And basically it's this little poker that's serrated on both sides, very sharp, great prison shank. And you pilot 3 holes into the cap of it. What you're doing is creating an air hockey table type effect because you want the coolest smoke you can get.
Yep.
It's the most flavorful smoke you can get.
I forget about it. I love the cut, and I forget about it.
We watched it this weekend, and I forgot about it too.
And then put it in my carrying case.
Yeah.
Is that just a preference or it's something that should be done on certain cigars?
Well, there's certain cigars, lower price cigars, I found really struggle if they didn't construct the cigar very well. As you go to screw that in, caps will start to break and everything else.
Yeah.
Cigars like Atame and stuff that are done really well, they can handle the Trilogy Punch without any problem.
Well, like yours at an angle.
Yeah, this was a very tight torpedo.
Oh.
So I cut it at an angle just to expose a little bit more surface area instead of just cutting it here where it made out physically tight.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
So I want to pivot a little bit. Squatch talk. Thank you, Jim. Squatch, is he real or is he fake? That's the first question.
I answered that, Kathleen.
I'm curious. Hang on. Where do you think Kathleen sits on the Sasquatch?
I don't think she's a believer.
I think she wants to believe, but I don't think she's a believer.
Yeah.
I do want to believe.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think it would be freaking amazing. And I want to go to Oklahoma and get that bounty on that Sasquatch.
Could you imagine being the first person to shoot a squatch?
That'd be freaking awesome.
That's murder because
Too close to humans? Oh my God.
How do you know it's murder? Willie's got pockets.
he's wearing cargo pants.
Where did he get the cargo pants?
Oh man. Yeah, that's
I see what's weird is I just on the Squatch talk. This obviously we're off the rails now, but on the Squatch talk, I think that I just trust McClurkin so much. And the other thing, and I don't know if I ever told you this story, but my dad's uncle was
7 foot tall.
no, he was the sheriff in Nebraska City
Okay.
for a long time. And when I was a little kid, I was probably 8. We went down to Nebraska City, and I didn't understand why. And we met him in this watermelon field, and he showed us these watermelons that had been stepped on, and a person didn't step on. These
dad's,
big.
who was it?
My dad's uncle.
Your mom spent the first 20 years of my life saying that there was a 6 foot spider in her basement.
Yeah, I don't believe her.
Okay, good.
But no. But full of shit. She does anything to scare
She
anybody.
was full of shit.
Yeah, she'll do anything to scare anybody. But no, I remember because I even distinctly remember bringing back watermelons that day, but I saw these watermelons that had been stepped on, and to me, when you're 8 years old, I don't know what the hell smashed them, but
Yeah.
and knowing Nebraska City, it's where Arbor Day was created. I mean, it's all trees and it's on the river and the whole thing. And so I had two. We actually had somebody that came in. Jordan's family is from Nebraska City, and he brought him in here.
Okay.
And I asked them if they remembered my dad's uncle, and they did. They've been in Nebraska City forever. I didn't tell them the Sasquatch story.
No, you probably should leave that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one out.
That is moot time. Sasquatch, no. Loch Ness, yes.
Why though?
Of all of them to believe in,
Yeah.
of all grainy photos, Loch Ness surely is the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm not buying like this.
Yeah.
No way.
Nessie walking online in Trader Joe's.
So here's this is the part for those who are watching. Just fire in any question that you
Yeah,
have,
anything.
whether it's Cigars 101 or not. Just fire in a question because let's see who's got the weirdest question.
Yeah.
JP's gonna win this.
Goodner's on, so I know he's got something weird.
Yeah.
And Larry Adams is in LaGrange, Missouri. You know that there's Sasquatches walking all over down there.
Yeah, but I've seen the people in North Central Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, they're
Up there in
squatchy
Shell
people.
Coffee.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
squatchy people.
Yeah, they're in their family tree somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Keith Blow, thank you for joining. He's asking, first cigar you ever smoked? We kind of touched on this a little bit earlier,
I think it's a great story to run through that.
and so we can kind of go around the table. I think we already definitely. What was the first cigar you said?
My first cigar was a Swisher Sweet in the back of my buddy's car when I was drinking beer in high school, and we were smoking Swisher.
What kind of
Sweets.
car was it?
55 Chevy.
Really?
Yeah, Tom Quan.
Really?
We used to go to we used to sneak into the movie theaters, and into the drive-in. You get like 9 people in the trunk of a 55 Chevy. I mean, one guy pulling in, 16, 17 years old, pulls into the drive-in, and there's like 9 of us packed in the back of the car.
Because you didn't want to pay the 75 cents.
No, they're probably easily 75 cents.
Just you? Just me, sir.
Just me. Yeah. Just want to catch a flick.
Yeah.
Your
Cigar,
cigar?
yeah, Swisher Sweet. The day I turned 18, I went to the gas station and bought Swisher Sweets with a wood tip.
Mine was a black and mild on the front porch with my grandpa Mike because we went to Missouri and got a bunch of bottle rockets, and so we didn't have punks.
Oh, so that was the.
So that was the punk. So I think my grandma Mickey went and got us black and milds, and we sat in the front and we just puffed on it. And I just remember thinking my dad would be so mad right now. And we lit bottle rockets up and just held them with our hand, and it just went off for it.
Solid.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'll never forget that. That was
I'm sure JP probably used Swisher Sweets to blow up mailboxes and frogs and shit when he was little.
frogs.
What was your first cigar?
Mine was actually a Siglo 6 in Baghdad.
This guy.
Oh
Oh,
yeah,
Siglo 6 in Baghdad.
that's the one up of all one ups.
Yeah, you won.
That's
Yeah,
Although he was getting shot at, we were getting shot at in the movie at the drive-in at the Golden Spike.
yeah. No, you win.
Well, that day I thought I was going to die, so I said, fuck it, why not?
You know what?
That day you thought you were gonna die.
That was the first time, man.
Oh shit! Next week,
Oh.
JP's in.
Yeah.
JP's
We
in.
need you at the table for sure.
Yeah, next week we're gonna.
We're gonna have him and a PTSD counselor sitting in here.
Yeah.
We're just gonna talk about it.
Yeah, let's-
Just get it out. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh, so does anyone have any weird questions that come in? Trader's all about the goat man.
I don't know about the goat man, and being in Texas,
It's
a
a
lifelong Texan.
that's a Virginia thing.
I don't know.
So there's cryptodes and the Mothman, Goatman, all that's East Coast.
In Virginia.
That just seems like, but isn't that like the home of hillbillies? Like there and then a little further south into the Smoky Mountains?
That's
Yeah.
hillbillies?
Yeah, hillbillies.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's it called? Have you guys ever seen The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia?
Are they the ones that
Yes.
drink their drink is Mountain Dew and they lose them? That's why their teeth are all rotten?
That and meth, yeah.
Yeah. And
Well, the meth loosens. The Mountain Dew is just how you just wash them down.
all they drink is Mountain Dew.
Larry Adams coming in with a little bit of science. Swatch is the product of cousins courting cousins.
Wow.
Sounds right.
There you go.
That's our
Showing coffee with us.
Yeah, that's what we saw.
Johnny Goodner asked a great question, and this we can circle around to the board here. What is your last meal cigar?
Your death row? Death row. Oh shit.
Chilean cigars.
Chilean Seabass.
No. last meal cigar.
Last meal cigar.
So you're gonna have your last meal. You're gonna finish the night with a cigar. What would it be?
Do we want the
Death
wheel
row.
in there too?
Why don't-
I'm confused about the question, Johnny Goodner. Are we talking food or are we talking cigars?
No, I think he's talking about what would be your last cigar.
A Byron.
Byron.
Mm-hmm.
You're going Byron. I got mine.
I'm probably at that Byron Aristocrat because it's gonna take 4 hours.
Yeah.
So I can just tell the guys that are waiting to take me the electric chair.
Slow
Man,
down.
I'm halfway done, man. You're gonna have to just take another lap.
I mean, I'll go and see if y'all agree with this. And I don't know if we can get them anymore, but it was the Cadillac that we had.
1957.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually, the cigar that Oliver gave us that was from 1880.
I still have one.
Oh,
That-
you do?
Yeah, I still have one, and Andrew fucking cut it.
Because you weren't here.
I wasn't here, so Andrew cut it. Andrew smoked mine,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Hey, where's that cigar that he gave to us?" Well, oh, you guys smoked it. Here, you can have mine. He's like, "What do you mean mine? You just smoked mine." And he gave me this angle cut pan. It's still my humidor. Yeah,
It's,
that was
it's
fun.
really
Wow.
good.
1880, right? Mine would be. I would probably.
What's yours, Goodner?
I would probably go full circle to what actually started the beginning, and I still have 3.
Swisher Sweet.
No, I would go, nope. Playboy by Don Diego.
You know what?
And I would reminisce over, because that's when I used to buy cigars when my brothers were underage. And I used to buy them Playboy by Don Diego because, like I said, we thought we were cool. And that, I think, would be just a good cigar to reflect on everything. You know, that really started everything for us. It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I have 3 of them. Then you got us a box of
Yep.
the ones that are different, and then I have 3 of them that have the actual Playboy buddy on. Those things are sitting in my humidor, and they'll probably
That was
always
her
be-
dad's favorite cigar. And yeah, same thing. Whenever we go to El Paso, he would request those. So if I could find them, I'd bring them. And yeah, that was his favorite cigar.
We're going in August. Verify.
You're going back in August? I'll give you one. I'll give you one of my. I've got a box where that's sitting in a ceramic.
I don't know if he smokes anymore. Does he? Did he stop?
If we were there, I'm sure he would.
I'll give you one. Remind me when you go. I'll give you one of the actual box that I have. Take that with you.
Thank you.
But I think they're like 2006-ish, which is about when we started smoking cigars. So it was from potentially the same production run from when we really started smoking cigars. So it's pretty cool stuff. Yeah, of course. Remind me.
Awesome.
I'm happy to send
It'll
that
be his
to
87th birthday we'll be celebrating and 64-year anniversary.
you. Wow. How cool is that?
I know. That's why we're going.
Yeah.
Johnny Goodner's is first release Cohiba Bahike 54.
Which means he has a first release Bahike.
Probably does.
Mine would be medium enough.
You're going BBMF? Yeah. That's.
What is it?
It's by Opus X. It's the big bad motherfucker. It's BBMF. They're about 75 a pop off with no age on them. and they're so good that, and they're so sought after that I don't want to smoke them. It's a unicorn.
It is. I know why JP likes it. It is.
Well, JP's
It's got some balls.
Oh,
It's
okay.
got balls.
and he's a BBMF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it oily like that one you had the other day?
It's not real oily, but the tobacco on the inside of the
No,
core of that cigar is.
I smoked another Opus X the other day, and it was tarring up at the tip really bad. So,
Okay, cool. John McGowan, I said ask any question, and that still stands. Anyone ask any question to what we're doing. Do you pack a lunch, or do you ride the bus? Are you a hot lunch, or are you a cold lunch?
Cold lunch.
Cold lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You were cold lunch?
Yeah.
Damn, that's fancy.
I was cold lunch every once in a while, but most of the time it was hot lunch.
I was hot lunch.
Yeah, cool.
You were cold lunch? Damn, your parents loved you.
They did?
I guess. I mean, if they were making you lunch, you know how much work goes into making you a lunch?
Oh, we didn't talk. We didn't
Oh,
say.
these guys. They know these 17 ways to cook bologna. I mean,
Spam.
we didn't do a lot of. I haven't had a lot of spam in my.
Yeah.
No, I spent no, but
Spam's a mystery.
but bologna with cheese and mustard.
Yep.
Yeah.
This
That
was-
so if we look at when we feed Alessia and Elias, they eat very good. They eat like beets and broccoli and they eat all this shit. And when I look back, I legitimately think the majority of our calories we took in were bologna, cheese, and
mustard.
Pop Tarts,
Yep.
s'mores, zebra cakes, star cakes,
Yep.
Taco Bell, Burger King,
Yep.
number 6 with ketchup, and
That's all Andrew ate until he was 13.
And I always say this, and I don't know if this is the truth or if I manufacture this truth, but I thought up until I was maybe 12 years old that a steak was hamburger
Hamburger,
steak. Was
yeah.
hamburger
Yeah.
on the George Foreman grill.
Yeah, hamburger steaks.
Hamburger steak. I don't know if I'm full of shit if I
No.
make that up, but I legitimately thought that
We had
that's what it was.
Hamburger steaks and just throw in one on
It
it.
ain't one on it. Yeah, that's. And I don't know what the sides were on that.
We
I
didn't
don't
have
remember. But
No, it was the hamburger patties we made.
you just pumped us full of HGH.
Oh yeah, just look at you guys. You're all
look at
freaks.
y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Look
that
at
was your
all.
secret. Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
am I
There's
far off
steroids in that
because
beef.
when I look back at my childhood and I think about how good Alessia and Elias have it, I think that was the majority of our diet, right?
Yeah.
Mexi melts
Yeah.
and all of that stuff.
Yep.
That's really what we eat.
Maximo?
If you haven't had a Mexi melt, you need to have about 2 more shots and then just drive up to Taco Bell. A Mexi melt will melt your mind. It is.
And your guts.
It will
No.
melt. It'll.
It's
melt
just
everything.
it's a tortilla with cheese, a little bit of pico, and then they put it in that steamer.
It's
And they get it really.
Oh, it's
good.
drunk food. It's drunk food.
Yeah.
It's a quesadilla, but it's kind of a rolled up burrito quesadilla with some ground beef in it.
It's a taco.
Yeah, it's a Mexican man.
Oh, Mexican did have meat in it.
Yeah, meat in it.
Yeah.
And Nate would get about 6
What?
Because call it the Mexican pizza.
They don't have.
Oh, that was they have the Mexican pizza. This
They still do.
they would roll it up like a mini burrito.
You know what? Adams is coming in. She's backing it up.
Yeah.
Julie's saying bologna, white bread, and mustard with ruffled potato chips.
Yeah.
And the chips in it.
In it, yes, exactly. And we would go Lay's.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sometimes Nate would cut up an apple. And I remember there was a time when he was cutting an apple with a Swiss Army knife and it slipped and he cut his finger open. And when he showed me, it looked like raw ground beef. He kind of pushed it and it was kind of pushing out of there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's not good. And so I don't know if he taped it or what he did, but
I know we never got stitches for it.
he only got stitches when he got hit in the head that time.
Yeah.
Super good.
No,
Yeah.
that
He had
is
to bounce
so
back
good.
on that one.
You
Yeah.
put the chips in there for a little bit of
Oh
crunch.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how we grew up.
That's why when we go fishing, I always make bologna, cheese, and mustard sandwiches just so you have that flashback.
Yeah, and if you want to be fancy, just peel the crust off and then you got crust.
Well, if you want to go really fancy, smoked bologna.
Yeah, now you're.
Smoked bologna is outrageous.
Now you're fucking rich, though.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
We're smoking bologna, and that is next level.
That is Vienna sausage and crackers.
Vienna sausage and crackers. Oh, okay. All right, I'm for it. So that's how we started. So thanks, John. That's why we said just throw in any question you've got. That's us. As you see where we're from.
Yeah.
No, that's all. Okay, so I have a question because your old parents that I respect, and I know most people who are watching are probably parents, and I'm probably further along the parenting role than I am, but I always ask this with people that I really respect, which is, your kids are, how old are your kids?
Old.
They're 18?
31 and 25.
Oh shit. How fucking old are you?
Older than 30.
You're that old? Man, you gotta figure it out. Congratulations.
I'm 29.
That's awesome. You're 29.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, if you were to back up all the way to having little young kids in like the prime time, what would you do differently than what you did? Knowing what you know now, if your kids are 4-ish, what do you do different?
Probably nothing different.
Nothing.
Everything that we instilled in them is what we would instill in the same capacity now.
Yeah. I was a helicopter mom. That's what they call them nowadays. But
Really?
I was all about the kids.
And you think that's the way to go?
Absolutely.
Not as though that's a challenge, but I think that's being connected with.
Even more so now,
Yeah.
I would say.
And I've always been very open with them. Our dialogue has been very open.
Okay.
So I don't hold back anything. And I think that was a good thing.
The clarity.
Oh yeah, because now I have very close relationships with both of them.
I'll summarize the sex talk that she had with our son, and it was, internet was limited at the time, but she went on and showed pictures of STDs and said, look, this is going to happen if you are unprotected and you don't want this. You want your thing to look like that? Don't do that.
No way.
And
Hell
it
How
yeah.
old was he when you had that conversation? 4.
16.
Okay.
Yeah.
4. All right.
Well, I just didn't want them to get into trouble.
Yeah.
So it was always that conversation, like STDs and pregnancy and don't you dare, and being sure that for my son, it was always like, if the girl's drunk, leave her alone. Because you never want that also.
Yeah.
And I think I did a good job because nothing ever happened and my kids were good.
This is the same son that one day I went to my liquor cabinet and poured myself a tequila.
It was water.
And it was water. And I was like, and I grabbed the bottle and I said, Nathan, come here. Because we were his age once. And I said, look, this is añejo tequila, which is typically brown. And if you're going to replace my añejo with water, at least make it tea.
Yeah.
It looks brown, right? So don't ever do that again. Please.
Yeah.
I think that in general, I think that parents are raising kids softer, and I was get your ass up and shake yourself off.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them are, calling 911 and trying to get a, life flight into the front yard because they scuffed their knee. I think just see.
And I don't remember that. Is the thing is.
But I watched you with Alessia, and you're just as soon as she bites the dust, it's get up, shake it off. So it's in there. I think the other thing I started very early, scared the shit out of you guys about drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And to this day, you can recite what happens if you do drugs.
Well, I just know that you'll kill me.
What happens if you do drugs, they better kill you.
Because I'm gonna kill you.
Because
Yeah, that's right. No, but
I started that at a pretty early age.
you know what? I remember watching Jerry Springer. You're probably not gonna remember this, but I remember being on your bed in your room watching Jerry Springer, watching the way they were talking to their parents. And you said, if you ever talk to me like that, you would kill me. You would kill me. I remember that. I was probably 6. I don't know how.
I remember I go to parent-teacher conferences when you guys are like in first grade, and the teachers would be like, "Well, you know, they're not the sharpest kids in the class, and they're kind of behind on their age code. Are they respectful? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, very respectful kids. Oh, okay. Well, we can always teach them to count.
Yeah,
I just want them to be good kids.
Yeah, that is something that you instilled, and I don't necessarily want to raise A kids, but I want to raise kids that when I pick up Alessia now. And the teachers are excited. Oh, she's so sweet. Yes, perfect. Yeah. She'll figure out the rest. She'll find what she loves, and that's
yeah.
So I'm not worried.
They'll find their way.
Yeah.
Yes.
They'll find
Yeah.
their way.
I'm going to expand on Yvonne's comment. So her ex-husband's mom would always told him, just don't get your name in the paper. We always told our son, I said, if you ever are arrested, and you're in jail for doing something that you shouldn't be doing, don't call us because you can stay in there.
Yeah.
He never was arrested.
Personal responsibility.
Yeah.
I think there's an element of fear that's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you need to have an element of fear of whatever it is, whether it's spiders.
Right.
Thanks, Grandma. But I think that fear of like, you never hit us. You never once hit us our entire life, but we always thought you would kill us.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that with Alessia too. And I let them see it when I'm playing with Havana. It's like, when I'm playing with Havana, it's time for Havana to go down. Boom, she's going to the ground really hard. You know, we're going to play like when we're playing, but then when it was done time, it was like, I knew the force that you were capable of, so I was never going to challenge that.
Yeah.
And I saw friends going through school where they would like get in a fight with their parents. I'm going, what? Are you fucking stupid? You're going to fight your dad? Isn't your dad going to kick your ass? Well, he didn't instill fear into his life.
Oh yeah.
So I think there is an element of fear of STDs. There's a fear of upsetting your parents. There is all of that.
Yeah.
My mom was she had me when she was 16. I think there was a fear, at least until I was 16, that I wasn't going to do what she did.
Mm.
So there was always that. Once I got to 17, she's thinking, "Oh shit, I made it. At least you made it past 16." But it was it was a different time then. If you were pregnant at 16 in the, early 60s.
Go to an all-Catholic school.
Going to an all-Catholic school, you were out.
Yeah.
You were out. But yeah, I don't know,
It's a different world. Where my challenge is I grew up like in the change of technology. So we had a home phone. There was the dial tone. There was the, hey, somebody get off the internet because I can't make a phone call. Those type of things. Where now it's, my 4-year-old knows how to put in the password for mom's iPad and put on what she wants in Disney Plus, and she knows exactly in that moment. So I'm being much harsher. I gotta toughen her up for life and sticking her on her dirt bike and hoping she crashes.
Oh yeah.
And like those elements of just putting the bumpers up so they don't really hurt themselves, but you need to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
And you need
Absolutely.
to get up. And I think there is that element where I never really saw that. Aside from when I was 12 years old and we were playing 49ers and you were my coach and we were going through and we were losing quite bad and they were bigger and stronger, and you came to the huddle and said, "You little pussies better get your head out of your ass and start playing football before I start beating the shit out of all of you."
Yeah.
Believe that could be quote unquote.
Yeah.
I think that's
I had to be a long ways away from the parents. when
I
did
think that was healthy.
Yeah, I agree. The fear that was in their eyes was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
What do you got?
And so this SJP, he's got the youngest son here. I mean, do you agree with what we're saying, or do you have a different outlook?
I mean, I don't think there's any right way or any wrong way. I think there's just, you gotta find your own that works for you and your family.
Yeah. And I was speaking, there's a gentleman I was speaking with at the car dealership today that he's expecting his first. I saw a little sonogram there. I said, "Oh, cool, you're expecting." He said, yeah, I'm trying to get rid of this.
Gotcha, I know.
But so he said, "Yeah, I'm expecting." He said, "Do you have any advice?" I said, "Listen to no one.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for thousands of years. you'll figure it out. And if someone has advice for you, fuck them. It's your kid. You parent it how you want to.
Yeah.
He's like, that's the best advice anyone's given me. But, well, everyone has advice for you. Oh, you should make your kids sleep the first night in your own bed.
Yeah.
Or put the, whatever.
Yeah.
Do it however you want.
I mean, you guys, because you and your brothers are so visible here, and it's very kind when people are like, you have the nicest kids, your kids are so nice, and blah, blah, blah. How did you do it? I don't know what the answer is to that.
Here's the answer.
I don't know. I'm scared the shit out of them.
No, here's the answer. Is honestly, you have 3 kids who want to be you when they grow up. Yeah. You have 3 kids that watched us, and thank you for the confirmation, because I thought I didn't know if I was making that truth up or not. Mm-hmm. We're from a very modest beginning.
Yeah, very.
I remember, look, I've said it before, and I'm sorry for anyone who's heard this before, but I was old enough that I knew what it looked like when Mom had a box full of her shit and she was leaving. I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
And then you were by yourself. And Grandma helped. I knew what all of that was. And I just watched you grind and grind and grind and grind and lead us in a way where Dave asked me that the other day. It's like, what do you want to be known as? I want to be known as someone that fulfilled the life that my dad set up for me and be as good of a dad as my dad was to me. Like, you've given us a world, you've given us the opportunities, you've ate shit popsicles for your entire life, and you set the example. And
I think the best thing that you can do for your kids is let them see you work hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you guys realize at an early age that nothing comes easy, and you just have to work. And I didn't go to college, so I had to paddle harder and faster. But when it was all said and done, I think that I would still strive to be the best. And you guys, got a chance to see that. A lot of it was at your expense because I was gone a lot and stuff like that. But we understood it.
But we appreciated it. We understood that you were a traveling salesperson. Grandma would come, and we didn't feel any different. We just knew you had to grind, and we knew when we had this modest little house that had the newest technology because you kicked ass at selling TVs, so they gave you a perk.
Yeah.
And so we had a projection screen TV in there. Like, holy shit, we're next. I remember that thing was big and had the deal, but we knew what that meant. So it's something that right now I look at as like, am I working too much? No, because I'm working at home, and they know what work looks like.
Right.
It's not given to you. I'm not going to give this to you. My kids have a better life, a better start than what I had. Not that we had a bad start.
No,
but
you worry about that.
But I expect them to understand that. I think that's.
I think people get stuck in a trap worrying about. They worry about the things that are part of life, the bills and all that stuff. They worry about that stuff. I always just thought I'm just going to keep running as fast as I can, and it'll take care of itself. And that's what you do. But I know a lot of people really get twisted into that.
Yeah. I don't think our kids even knew when we were going through struggles or whatever. And we did, but I never put that on them. As far as they know, everything was always great. So I never put anything on them. They knew
like financial struggles.
Yeah, just certain things, marriage, whatever, losing jobs or whatever. They never knew anything, and I liked it. Like I wanted it that way, but at the same time, they knew that we were always working hard. And to this day, our kids always tell us, God, I appreciate you guys. I know how much you've done for us. And I think it was because of the fact that they don't really know the whole story. But now that they're older, of course, we kind of fill them in on things that were going on when they were young. But
and that comes back to the cigar element, right? Because the reason why cigars are so integral to our family and why I think this is a succeeding business is because, many factors, but when we started smoking cigars and we were going through those challenges at 20, at 24, 26, working in, we got to have that cigar and go, and Dad would go, oh yeah, I went through that. So here's what I did. And you get that communication like you have with your kids.
Oh yeah. I love dialogue. I love it. And it's always there. And especially when you're here, there's always something that, we get into in conversation.
One of the things that I look forward to is when we do the Wednesday wind down. And after we do the wind down, at the end, last 15 or 20 minutes is the wind down. And we talk about where did your mind go? And what's been interesting is certain guys open up and they'll start talking about something that they're going through, whether it's their marriage or whatever. And then to watch the other guys that have been down that road before are able to because we literally had a guy 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, that was just like asking for advice. And when you got 3 guys in there that have more laps around the track, you're able to do this, and all of a sudden he's feeling better about going home. He's feeling better about things, and it all happened because we all stopped for a second and smoked a cigar, and just everything. I think the downfall of technology is it makes so many things so much easier that you have more free time, and people don't know how to put that free time to work for them. They fill it with their problems. And if you can, and there's so many of them that you don't have time to grab one and work it through. So that's the thing I found in the wind down, guys, is this room, we red light it, we turn the lights off, we put on music, no devices, no talking for 2 hours. And when you get a chance to grab something and really think it through, all of a sudden the solution comes up. Where when there's emails and comments and all this other shit coming in at you from 30 different directions, you don't have time to grab it. And that's just something that back in the day we didn't have. You had to solve your own problem, and the solution wasn't just a Google search away. It's just
Larry Adams, the Wednesday wind down is every Wednesday. When you come to town, come do this.
It's one of the coolest things I've ever done with a cigar.
It's weird though because you have to face your demons. You don't realize how many demons you're running away from until you stop and they catch you. Oh shit.
But what's been interesting is the overall theme, and Johnny Goodner, if he's still watching, one of those that participates in this, it is the amount of people that just say, I realize how blessed I am. And if you can grab that thing you're blessed to have in your life, you can have all kinds of stuff going wrong everywhere else, but if you can just really concentrate on the stuff that's going right, man, it's healing. It's really.
But that's when you can come here, have a cigar, and I've walked away many a nights, had a conversation with certain people, and it's like, I felt so much better. They told me, maybe it was a word, maybe it was the whole conversation, but I walked away better because there was something on my mind and we got into the conversation, and that's what I enjoyed.
Yeah, I think I've heard it from now 3 different people in the 4 years that we've had the shop that have gone through very difficult times, that have opened up to me personally, saying that they were at a suicidal point in their life, and having the shop and having this place to go and having the cigar has kind of helped them cross that bridge. So, there's a lot of people who are going through a lot of shit. That's just the reality of things. And if you can find that thing that will help you walk down the path, that's awesome. Some people have religion, or they have a friend network, or whatever the case may be. But it's amazing how many people really want to help if they'll just open up.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Well, I think that's pretty solid. I think so. Yeah. Well, that's where we want it to go. That's just overall, for those who are still watching, appreciate it. This is what cigar smoking is about. It's about getting into real conversation. And I know I'm walking out because I hogged it. And I wanted to learn from you because I respect all of you as people and as parents.
I think one of the I just reflect on some time that I've had with JP. He's got this business that's growing, and knew that my background was in sales and to be able to go to his place and visit with his salespeople and talk to him about sales and stuff, that to me is very second nature. But to be able to share that and to think I wouldn't have got to do that and have that enjoyment and be able to maybe help somebody. Had we not had the cigar, JP and I wouldn't have crossed paths. We wouldn't have crossed paths. And my best friend's Kai, and 33 years in the fire department. And I've always told him I would have never met you unless my house was on fire. And now
it's Dallas.
Yeah, that's true. But
well, and look at that, because you've had a best friend for 45 years, right? But he's not a cigar smoker.
no,
So you're not able to really truly connect with him. And if he was a cigar smoker and you were able to, it would be completely different. You'd be able to decompress with, hey, you're an asshole, and work through some of these things. But because you aren't, well, all right, I'll clock out at 5. I'll see you later. And with that, I think there is that dichotomy of sharing something with someone or not.
Yeah.
it's just that we've said it 100 times. This is the great equalizer.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to talk to anybody. It doesn't matter what they do. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And it's just a cool experience. And I going to what was the number 1, 2, and 3 cigar lounges in Chicago, and to see that they didn't have that culture. I take it back. The Byron Lounge very much had it, and I think it happened naturally. I don't know that they were facilitating it. Mm-hmm. Where we're introducing people and things like that. So, but a couple of the other shops, a couple of the other places, it wasn't part of their makeup. It wasn't at their core. And the people that come in here when the shop is empty, they're missing a big part of what the shop is all about. Mm-hmm. So before you get down here, Larry, I'm sure in LaGrange there's probably not a lot happening in Cigar Lounge.
Has Larry even been here before?
Not yet. But him and his wife are coming down here, I think, next month, at the end of July, when it's 4 million degrees.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, real quick, Zarky1 on Instagram. He says, have some whiskey on ice and great positive vibes in life. Whether it's whiskey or water or Dr. Pepper or chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Just enjoy your cigar, enjoy life.
Or tequila.
tequila.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it helps. With that,
Good point.
Life is better with a cigar. I think that's probably a shirt.
mm-hmm. You know what's so fun? Yeah, Larry says that ICC is a very unique lounge in that it makes people feel like family.
Yeah.
He hasn't even been here yet.
Yeah.
Wait till you're
I
here.
feel like I know him because I've seen him
Yeah.
literally.
Me
He
too.
joins our Wednesday podcast that I do with Jeremy as well. He's like, hey, welcome.
I spoke to them this week and I said, just get ready to start looking for houses.
When you have people that are going, hey, I'm looking for some houses, and when I get to a house, I go on Google Maps and determine what the distance is to the shop. And they're trying to make sure they're looking at houses that, if it's 5.6 miles, not too far, I need something a little bit closer.
Yeah, that's it. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be back next Tuesday. We will be back Saturday. If you don't have tickets for First Friday, get them. They're on Eventbrite right now.
It's going to be cool this week. Be cool. Going to have an acoustic guitar.
Guitar. We'll have the Bocock Brothers in. We're launching a new line.
Nice.
Their cigars will be available on Friday, Saturday for limited release. Go do it. Yeah.
And that's the thing, and I think it's important we point out that because they're going to be here, we're only going to have the cigars available Friday, Saturday.
Then we'll reintroduce.
And then we'll reintroduce the line because these guys they're also very passionate about cigars, and it's important that people see the ICC University that you guys are going to shoot, so that they can see that, they can feel that. These guys aren't just whipping up some cigars to make some money.
Hotels half a mile from the lounge. Good. Cool.
There's a hotel that's
Literally next door.
100 yards away.
Yeah. Change that room. All right, folks. Thank you so much. We will see you soon. Cheers,
guys.
to all of you.
Thank y'all.